The following contains spoilers for Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and El Camino. You have been warned. Greetings, fellow mortals. There's a lot to think about with Better Call Saul. All of its major characters come off as complex people with a lot going through their minds. Even while surrounded by characters that have enough depth to spend hours digging through their personalities, Kim is the person from Better Call Saul that gives me the most complex feelings and thoughts. In my previous videos, I claimed that Nacho was the best character and Howard was the most tragic character. Kim stands out as being the character that is the most difficult person to understand at times. Now, you might be asking about Gus at this point, and you would be right to do so. That is a complicated man with many different aspects to his personality. He's a savvy business owner and an ideal boss as long as you're on his good side. He's also a ruthless drug lord and a cruel torturer to those that have crossed him. He's a man that loved one person so much that he was willing to burn the rest of the planet to the ground for someone that has long since passed away. Obsessed, focused, clean-centric, charismatic, terrifying. All of those descriptors and more could accurately be used to describe Gustavo's personality. You love to hate him, and you hate that you love him. Kim, on the other hand, is an entirely different animal. For almost the entirety of Better Call Saul, she acts as both the moral center and the emotional support for Jimmy. Despite the fact that these were two contradictory roles, Kim pulls them off very well. It's because she argues the legality of an action in comparison to the morality of it. When Jimmy starts to break the laws in order to benefit himself, Kim, and his clients, her arguments rarely focus on the ethical implications of his actions. Rather, she focuses on the terrible outcomes which could happen if he gets caught. That's something that the audience is thinking about all the time. What would happen if Jimmy got caught? His actions are amusing and fun, but we know that the hammer will come down on him fast if he messes up. I can only think of one thing that the American legal system would punish faster, and that would be tax fraud. Forget about all the other crimes. What the government actually cares about is getting money from you. I'm sure that everyone has some experience with the government's obsession with spending large sums of money for smaller sums of money and to enforce the most minor details possible. So it's hard to argue with Kim's mindset. In comparison to Skyler, I never found myself getting annoyed with Kim. I think that the show creators learned their lesson with Skyler. I had a long discussion with my wife about these characters and found that she hates Skyler just as much as me. While my thought process was simply because Skyler was constantly acting as a force which was getting in the way of Walter making meth, which is what we want to see when watching Breaking Bad, my wife argued that Skyler was annoying because she was a hypocrite. My wife argued that Skyler acted like she was morally better when she was only willing to do half measures to try to stop Walter. And I suppose that's true. It's like what Mike always said, half measures never help. And that's what Skyler's entire story was. She was, in fact, a victim of Walter's actions, but there was always a way to stop him. In a way, Skyler acted as half protagonist and half antagonist. Kim, in comparison, had been on Jimmy's side from the start. Her arguments had to do with the law and getting caught. This mindset apparently stems from her relationship with her mother. It helps to make the audience more sympathetic to her. I haven't really seen hatred for Kim like with Skyler, so I don't know if it has to do with sexism like many people claim. There could be a bit of that, but I think that has to do with the writing not placing Skyler in a likable position. Despite rarely arguing with Jimmy based on the morality of his actions, Kim has been shown to be more similar to Jesse when it comes to caring for the innocent. Jesse had compassion and love for children. Despite everything that he did, he always considered them to be the ultimate good that shouldn't be harmed no matter what happened. The same can be said for Kim. She has shown to care for the less fortunate, the downtrodden, and the weak. This is shown most with her pro bono work. Plus, there's her scary level of competence. In my Nacho video, I claimed that the way that Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad is that everyone is shown to be extremely skilled and intelligent people at every turn. Kim picks up on a situation almost immediately. Rhea Seehorn does an amazing job showing the gears turn in Kim's head. Kim knows the law and is quick to use it as a weapon for her benefit. In this way, she's shown to be a combination of Mike and Saul when it comes to her ability to think things through. She's terrifying at times, and I loved to watch her work. I mean, she was able to talk Lalo down. Kim used her knowledge of logic, the law, and the human mindset to convince Lalo not to harm Jimmy. It wasn't like Lalo couldn't have just done what he wanted and fled to Mexico. He could have easily done that. But she convinced him to do what she wanted. That's something that not even Saul has been shown to do. Jimmy was able to talk Tuco down, but Lalo was shown to be on a cold, calculating, different level. Because in a lot of ways, I do think that Kim was a better lawyer than Jimmy. In fact, Jimmy seemed to internalize that. He accepted the world's second greatest lawyer thermos with pride. Then, when Kim left him and being a lawyer behind, he showed his world's best lawyer mug with pride, because that was all he had left. From my perspective, Jimmy had been actively trying to push Kim away for a long time. In fact, I saw it first starting to pop up right after Chuck died. All he wanted was to be loved, but he started making his own self-fulfilling prophecy. Chuck ingrained into him that he was no good, and Saul fully embraced it more as time went on. Despite how desperate Jimmy seemed to keep Kim around, his actions were shown to constantly be trying to push her away. What he did and what he said were completely different from each other. Jimmy desperately didn't want to inadvertently hurt her and ruin her, so he intentionally hurt her instead. That way, she would leave him behind and save herself. While most of Jimmy's actions seem more subtle, I think that his mindset is demonstrated best when he argues for Lalo to send Kim to kill Gus instead of him. This is all a matter of interpretation, but I think that Jimmy wasn't actually arguing for Kim to commit murder because he didn't think that he could pull it off. I think that he was telling her to run away and to leave him. Let him die so that she could live. I don't think that he even intended for her to kill someone and save him. It was all about getting her away from the downward spiral that was his life. Of course, Kim did follow through with Lalo's plan to kill Gus. At least, she tried. I was stunned by the boldness that she showed when she stepped up to kill someone for the sake of her husband. I believe that she would have done it too, because Jimmy is her addiction personified. Don't get me wrong, she does love Jimmy, that's clear, but she's also addicted to him and the scams that he helps her pull off. She's addicted to getting away with these schemes. Kim is a unique form of adrenaline junkie. In a way, that's how Kim is like Walter White. Heisenberg never touched the product that he made. What he found addictive was the rush of success, of facing dangerous situations, of defeating his enemies, and of justifying his huge ego. Kim shares the lust for excitement, and I mean that in a literal sense. Usually, the rush of successful scams makes Kim sexually excited. It was a feeling and sensation that she solely associated with Jimmy. That's why every time that she should have left Saul Goodman behind, she dug herself deeper into that pit. Each time that Jimmy tried to push her away, Kim ingrained herself more with marriage, getting involved in his schemes, and by thinking more like him. I actively found myself feeling shocked when she gave Saul the two alternatives of being a friend of the cartel or being a rat. That did not sound like Kim Wexler. In season 6, her transformation was more ingrained than even Jimmy's. She's all in on destroying Howard. Meanwhile, Jimmy seems far more willing to pull out of the scheme at a moment's notice. He seems to want to pull out of his Saul Goodman persona. Kim, on the other hand, won't let the scam go no matter what happens. Without even knowing it, she personified the wolf that Jimmy always strived to be. And for once, it's her insistence on keeping a scheme going when there are constant signs to stop that what leads to tragedy. This isn't going to take any blame away from Jimmy. The blood from Howard's death is equally on both of their hands, and Lalo, of course. But destroying Howard's legacy is all on Kim and Jimmy. They attacked a good man on a level that ruined him in the minds of his family, his friends, and his peers. And to cement that, Kim managed to convince Howard's wife that she didn't know her own husband. Kim destroyed that poor woman. But that's where it stopped. When Kim kissed Jimmy in the parking lot, it felt like a goodbye. It was the end of their schemes and their relationship. Realizing what she had become, Kim threw away her status as a lawyer and threw away the love of her life. She realized that her vague goal of having more, as she put it in her interview with Schweikert and Coakley, is detrimental, because more is never enough, just like we have seen with Walter White. Add all of this together, and I believe that Kim Wexler is one of the most complex characters that I have seen on television. The most fascinating aspects of her is that we haven't even seen that much of her from her past. Almost everything we know about her is from the events of Better Call Saul. She has the core ethics of Jesse. She has the competency of Mike. She has the addiction of Walter. She has the mind for the law like Saul and Howard. I would even argue that she has the calculating method of Gus. In fact, I think that Breaking Bad would have played out entirely differently if she had been involved in the show. She's everything and nothing. She's the hero and the villain. She's the saint and the sinner. She's the lover and the fighter. She's the most ambitious but the least guided. She's the genius that doesn't understand anything about herself. Kim Wexler is the most complex character not only in Better Call Saul, but the entirety of the Breaking Bad universe. And I hope that the writers, the actress, and the showrunners view her as the crowning achievement in storytelling that she is. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, remember that I'll be self-publishing my novel, Dance of Frozen Death, at the start of 2023. I hope that you will check it out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.